Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from mindfulmarketplace.com. And again, today we're going to look at a few really simple questions that you can be asking yourselves, right, or yourself as you launch whatever it is that you're building, whatever community you're creating, whatever um, movement you're making or audience you're seeking. If you're building an authority site style business, a community, the in my view, the success you're going to have is really predicated on the sorts of questions that you're going to be asking. So here's another really old PDF. I don't know when I say really old, it's a couple years old, um, and it was just a sequence of prompts that preceded a phone call I had with a client, and I'm just going to share it with you again here in the hope that it jogs your, it turns your mental wheels in a way that serves your brand and serves your business going forward. So question number one is, pretty simple, straightforward. Who is our ideal audience, right? Very specifically, in this case, it was an advisory sort of community. Which advisors are we going to be inviting to participate in the relaunch of this platform? Are we targeting just one niche or just one type of advisor relative to success or name recognition? I'm not even sure what that means actually as I read that now. Or are we targeting any advisor that wants high-end agency style services we can bundle into the offer as the primary profit lever, right? So essentially, I guess what I was suggesting there is how nichey do we want to get with this launch, right? Do we want, and in this case, it was a relaunch of an existing community. Do we want, one very specific kind of what I generally refer to as concierge style services. So you're targeting one very high end, high performing, kind of wealthy, sub niche within the niche, or are you really kind of targeting everybody? Right. So if you're selling to real estate agents, are you if you're building a community, let's say in the real estate niche, are you just targeting like folks who are making, $250,000 and above, or who are super high performers, or are you building a directory or a community or a marketplace that kind of includes everybody? Because essentially, you're going to find that the needs of the niche vary quite. There's going to be a wide spectrum of niche and need within one bucket, right? I mean, someone who's a real top performer is going to be more interested in a community that is carefully curated around his or her peers, right? They want to be included in something that is has the appearance of prestige or elitism. They want to be elite versus somebody who just wants to use a directory or a marketplace or a community to build, to build their own brand at whatever stage they are at. All right, number two, what is the unique selling proposition we'll be using to pitch these advisors on getting on board early or getting on board at all, right? So if you watched the video I did yesterday on unique selling proposition for digital media brands, the whole kind of idea about secret sauce, and the sauce doesn't need to be, or your secret sauce doesn't even need to be your sauce, right? You can borrow other people's tools and tech and software and services to launch your own thing, right? And the same thing applies here from the other side of the street, right? So how clearly can we articulate this? Like, how clearly can you articulate a beta value, right? So someone, you're saying we're in beta, we're relaunching, we're starting again now. This community is brand new, or it's coming for a V2, a version 2. How can you articulate early, the value proposition in the early stages that's going to change later on? So can you say, if you sign up by July 1st, or during this quarantine period, or during this lockdown period, before the world comes back online, you get X, Y, Z, and so forth and so on. And these things will all be, paid, add-ons later, right? So by dint of signing on today, you get a certain first mover advantage that you won't get down the road. All right. So, um, and again, can you create a mini manifesto or a core ethos that articulates how we, what the value proposition is and how that may differ from what they may find elsewhere. And again, for those of you who are building these style sites, I mean, I can tell you from my own experience that just having the site is a really clear way of articulating a unique selling proposition or a value proposition that others won't have. So for an example, if you are selling marketing services to realtors, having a directory of realtors is a unique selling proposition, right? You can offer all the same things as every other agency in town, right? Or marketing consultant in town, or restaurant, a consultant in town who does marketing for restaurants or website design for restaurants. But if you own the restaurant directory in town that people know is a place where they can go and find good reviews and coupons and read menus, et cetera, that is a unique value proposition that you can offer to your potential clients, right? Because you own something in addition to offering the same services as everyone else. All right, so here's a really good little exercise that I like to use for myself as well as anyone I'm working with. All right, it's day one, you're now live. How are you generating traffic, right? I mean, like, what are you doing? You got the site published, it's up, it's in the world, and people can sign up. Well, how are you letting people know about it? And this is generally where people find themselves getting confused. So, or they find themselves stuck, or they find themselves frustrated. So, are you able to run pay-per-click ads? Can you run Facebook ads? I actually recommend Facebook ads over pay-per-click ads. Can you use email invites? Can you use an affiliate program? Can you invite people who were can you incentivize people who are already part of let's say, the original community? In this case, these guys were relaunching something. Can you leverage your audience to become evangelists and to to become ambassadors or partners, in quotes, for your platform, right? Can you say, hey, we'll give you a free year of listings or a free premium listing if you recommend 10 people, or if you invite 10 people, or if you share this link and it results in 10 fee-based customers, or members, right? Can you use an industry list? Like, can you just buy a list and email folks that way? All right, how about this seed and invite approach, right? So that's something that, I've done a lot of in my own career, building these style communities a decade ago, where you're seeding the site yourself and then you're inviting them after the fact. So you're actually adding a listing, and then you're saying, hey, we've added you, and do you want to have a premium listing on our community? So you give somebody, by dint of seeding the site with their name. So you would add me, let's say, to a marketing community, and then say, hey, Ian, my name is Ian, and I'm inviting you to sign up for the premium listing. Here's your base listing now. I don't necessarily love that approach. It's not what we do now as a revenue generation thing. I don't focus on featured listings anymore, but that does work, right? I've certainly have plenty of experience with adding somebody to a site, and then you say, hey, can we give you a coupon? Can we give you a premium? Can we give you priority of place on the site, right? Can we give you like you show up as a recommended partner, or as the recommended pizza place, or the recommended dry cleaner, or the recommended yogi or dentist, or whatever it is. Again, all these directory plugins and themes and frameworks have the ability to do that now. So those are all avenues to explore. What I do, actually, what I recommend is one of two things: ads or outreach, right? Ads being Facebook ads. In my case, I don't really have much luck with pay-per-click ads, like Google ads. I've done very poorly with those, but Facebook ads can be really transformative. I've had lots of good luck with Facebook ads for these style sites, although um, in the beginning, I think email invites, or what I call outreach, is the smarter strategy, because you can sit back, especially if you're home like the rest of the known universe, as today, right? Like we all are. At least I'm still working from home. I'm still in a lockdown situation where I am. But if you're at home, take advantage of that and do both, right? You can just I can sit at home and either send emails myself to a new community. I can hire someone to do it. You can use any of these cool kind of software services like Lemlist and those sorts of things, which add personalization. I recommend doing a combination of email outreach, and if you can afford to, do Facebook ads. And I've certainly shared many different ways of using Facebook ads to build these style sites. All right. So, and you can see those on YouTube. Let me look at what existing online assets is there. Okay, so essentially, this means, right? You know, what assets do you have that can offer evidence of success to new members? What have you built, or what is there? Do you have a blog? Do you have a newsletter? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a an Instagram page that is heavily populated with content? Do you have anything that can say to folks who are looking at a brand new site, if that's where you're at in the in the continuum, right? Is there anything out there that can say, this is why you should trust us? This is why you should believe that we have something of value to offer you going forward, even though there's not much there now. I've told this story a zillion times. I'll tell it again. Now, the first site that I built years and years ago, I'll never forget this. It was a new community in the spiritual growth space. And I emailed somebody. I was actually, it doesn't matter. I won't give all the background details, but I emailed somebody who wrote back, "You need me more than I need you." And it was a middle-aged woman who was, kind of whatever she was in this kind of spiritual authorship niche. And it motivated me in a way that not much else could, right? So she basically looked at the site and said, "Yeah, I don't need you, but you need me." And the truth is, she was probably as it was probably a true statement that I didn't need her, but I needed people like her, right? And the more people I had like her, the more other people down the road like her would look at the various hers on the site and say, well, maybe they need me more than I need them. But at that juncture in time, because there was only 10 or 20, or I don't know how many listings were there, she basically was nasty and said, yeah, I don't need you. Why would I sign up for this? You need me because you have nobody, right? So a good idea, and I always recommend this, is have some existing assets that you can show off in advance. Have a blog. You can add curated content to a site every day for 30 days and have a shitload of content on a community. Even if you have no listings, you can have a blog with 30 days of 2 or 3 posts a day that are just like curated. You're posting links and sharing parenthetical thoughts about those links. That's a great way of building a local style site, or building even a niche community. And then essentially when you're ready to start inviting people, you send people to the blog rather than to the directory piece, right? So so people see you have an existing asset, or you do that same thing on Facebook, or you build a newsletter, right? I mean, you can even, I've seen people do this on Pinterest, right? So I had a client a year or so ago who had built a million plus following on Pinterest and had no site whatsoever, like was launching this new directory. And I said to her, hey, use your Pinterest board as the evidence of success. Don't focus on the directory, which you're just starting. Why would you send people there? Send them to Pinterest, where you have a million followers, and say, this is, how I can promote your business when you jump on board our new community launch. I have, 1 million people on Pinterest that I can expose your service, your product, your brand, et cetera, in addition to the new directory. So focus on other assets, right? You don't have to just focus on the directory piece. And that's why focusing on real content, on things outside of just the directory listings, right? Newsletters, so important. Social media, Facebook, so easy to do. When I send people now to our Mindful Marketplace community, I always send them to Facebook first because we have, posts that I mean, 25 or 26,000 followers. But more importantly, the posts that people can see on that page have, shares that are several hundred, likes that are 700 or 800. I have lots of content pieces like that we've carefully created for the purposes of promotion. So when I invite people to be part of our ecosystem, I can say, if you participate on our platform, you're going to get this sort of engagement from our audience. And here's the evidence of success, right? It's a simple Facebook post that has a zillion likes or shares or whatever. All right, my laptop I can see is dying, so I'm going to wrap this up. And again, what can we offer that would be so irresistible to our ideal audience, our target niche, that they'd be crazy to say no, right? How do you overwhelm your audience with irresistible offers? And I've done so much content on this, and it's the most fun piece of this process. You want to get you want to just experiment with offers. Like, what would just be so good that to your ideal audience that they would be crazy to say no, and that can allow you, right, to leverage what you already have that has an incremental cost to you, right? So I mean, like, what offers can you give your audience that don't really take a lot of time or don't really require you to do a lot of work or don't cost you anything, but that are really genuinely valuable to somebody in your niche, market, industry, locality, et cetera, et cetera. All right. All this is very easy to do. And it ties back into what I did yesterday, which is, what can we leverage to launch? What can we borrow to build? What other platforms have our ideal audience right now? And how can we leverage those platforms strategically to get our message in front of a much larger audience on a bootstrap budget? Again, you can do this with so many cool ways by identifying who has your ideal audience, right? Who has your eyeballs, who has your customers, who has your community, and then you just figure out ways to reach out to those people and then create strategic partnerships with them so that you can leverage their audience for your community. Okie doke. That is pretty much it for today. And again, that's by necessity, as my laptop's about to die. And I will be happy to answer questions. If you have them, feel free to shoot me an email, hi@mindfulmarketplace.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment below. I will also post this PDF so that you have this for your own launch, and you can kind of fill these questions out yourself. You can download that in the course content, administration area. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.